Welcome to Phantastical Careers with Kelli Bertinelli. On this episode, your favorite intergalactic journalist has decided to interview a vampire mirror assistant, Harken Van Duren. Harken, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, hello, Kelly. I'm so happy to be here. Hi.
Now, I really know absolutely nothing about your chosen profession. It just came across my desk. And so I made a few questions that I'd like to dig into, but if you have any additional thoughts that you'd like to share, please feel free to. But just to start with, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your occupation?
Certainly. Hello, my name is Harken Van Duren. I am a vampire mirror assistant, which is not a mirror assistant who is a vampire. It is a mirror assistant for vampires. It's an important clarification. See, it is a commonly known fact that vampires cannot see their reflection, which is where my job comes in. There are a number of duties being a vampire mirror assistant, but the chief one involves mimicking a vampire's dress and face back to them while they're getting ready every night before going out on the town. Vampires love dressing up and need to look their best at all times to impress the other vampires. But naturally, without a mirror, this can be quite difficult. So what I do is my best to match their movements in reverse, match their facial expressions, and generally act like I'm their actual reflection. It can help them feel more at ease, especially if they're recently turned and not used to having a reflection yet. It's definitely a learned skill, learning to properly mimic their expressions without making them look like an idiot, which, frankly, many of them are. It's a bit like being a portrait painter, but with my body. Avant garde art. I have to make them good, look very good, to themselves. And of course, makeup application is crucial. Some vampires have makeup assistants, but a lot are very self aware of their own state of undeath
Mm,
and like doing it
mm.
themselves, or they don't happen to know any makeup assistants who are undead, which is a problem. So if they want to do it themselves, I sit across the table from them and match their movements exactly, but mirrored, including the wrong ones, especially the wrong ones. They need to be able to see how good or bad their makeup looks, but on my face. See, I actually have a mirror myself on the side to help me out, because I couldn't use without a mirror either. So I spend a lot of time in front of an actual mirror, practicing my expressions, my movements, my makeup application, etc., etc.
It sounds like you spend most of your time indoors. So if you were describing your job to someone, would you call it a desk job?
Hmm. I do, in fact, spend most of the time sitting at a desk, but vampires, see, they rarely go outside, so it's a great job for indoorsy folks. But it's a little more dangerous than a desk job, I'd say. I mean, sometimes vampires can get angry at how they look and start grabbing for the nearest thing to throw, which is often me, or the mirror, but there is no mirror, so it's just me. I had been thrown 4 times by a vampire. I survived each time, in case you were wondering. Sometimes they don't like the way I'm mimicking them, or the expression I made, even if it's an exact match of their own. So it's a bit of a dangerous job, actually. But they get to hang around vampires all day, which is just cool. And dress up in the most glamorous of outfits, stay in these gorgeous gothic homes. It's a pretty cool gig, not going to lie.
So it sounds like there's travel, or I mean, I know you said that they don't really spend a lot of time outside, but they clearly get around. So do you have to travel to them or with them?
Not really. See, I primarily commute from client to client in the same town. I'm actually in high demand in certain circles in the city.
Mm,
So
mm.
occasionally I will have to visit multiple clients in one night across town, if they haven't paid enough for my services for the entire night.
So do they are most of your sessions, I guess you would call them, are they scheduled or are you on call? Is it like a hair salon? How exactly do your clients like get with you?
It is very much a scheduled thing. Sometimes they come by bat, sometimes by wolf, sometimes by raven, sometimes by mice, which is disgusting. One time by a cockroach, which was nasty. But they are very private creatures and prefer to utilize my services within the privacy of their own home. It's a very personal thing being a vampire mirror assistant. I have to develop a relationship with my client, understand what they need from me, learn their mannerisms and personality. Highly customized.
When I was doing my research, and pardon me if I'm treading on sensitive areas, but I noticed that there have been in the past some vampire mirror assistants that have turned against their clients or acted as spies for different various enemies. So how do you gain the trust of a vampire if they are just naturally so distrustful?
Well, there is a vetting process for vampire mirror assistants. We have a highly professional club that we all attend, and when it has come to our attention that one of our assistants has been caught spying, we take care of them. Nicely, of course.
Well, I'm glad to know that the safety of your clients comes first.
Of utmost concern.
Yes,
Utmost
yes.
concern.
When hearing the word assistant in a job description, I know a lot of young people sound like, oh no, I want to, go to the top. It doesn't sound like, though, you are at the bottom of your particular profession. It sounds like you are at the top. So, what would you say to a young person who is turned off by the word assistant in your job title?
Well, you are functioning as an assistant, but to a vampire. So there's no one below you, no one above you other than your client. This is a 1-to-1 ratio. So you are assisting a vampire with their mirror, not assisting a vampire with other things or being an assistant to someone else. So there's not really a better title to describe the job. It is by nature a service. It does require a little bit of humility. So if a young person is looking for a flashy job with lots of pizzazz, maybe being a vampire mirror assistant isn't for them, but the pay is pretty incredible. Vampires are some of the wealthiest citizens in town. An investment in 1850 would pay off leagues in the modern day, so they pay accordingly for their services. As the old saying goes, you'll never meet a poor vampire.
Vampires have been known to live to extraordinary ages, and I guess I wouldn't call that hibernation. I'm not sure what their species refers to it as, but I do know that they've slept for extended periods of time or be undead for a little while. So, what does job security look like if your vampire decides to travel on a boat for 8 months, or your client is accidentally impaled?
Well, you see, they're always about vampires. Vampires have a pretty consistent habit of making more vampires. So there's a risk, but there's always more clients, right? It's also very easy if they're a smart vampire to work for the same client for years. Most clients never change their schedule during my entire tenure with them. But then sometimes your client accidentally opens a window and vaporizes, or runs afoul of the local hunters club, accidentally bites the wrong person and gets impaled, or orders garlic knots by accident, crosses a river accidentally. All kind of things happen.
So you said
So then you need a new job.
ah, so you said that some of the more consistent vampires have a consistent schedule, or the older vampires have a consistent schedule. So I'm assuming that that's primarily in the evening. So how does working basically the night shift work into your social time?
Well, there are some vampires, young vampires, who have tried inventing vampiric sunblock. It hasn't worked. But no, so it is only in the evening that I work. I am a night shift and I sleep during the day, kind of like a vampire, actually, now that I think about it, and work at night.
Good to know. I know that that's just one of the big things that young people like to ask. What is the salary? What are the work hours? Does it leave adequate time for a social life and a family?
But let me tell you, vampiric nightlife is exquisite.
It certainly sounds like you just really enjoy your career. And that's really what, I try to find is people who love their career and they want to share their passion with others, because life is too short to have a boring job.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, but I just want to thank you, Harken, for joining us this evening. I just really appreciate your time, and I hope that you have a good time with the clients that you will be serving this evening.
Well, thank you. I very much intend to, as long as I don't die by impalement. Thank you so much for having me, Kelly. It's a fantastic opportunity.
Listeners, if you would like to learn more about any of the careers that I share on my show and how you can get involved, please reach out and I'll do my best to put the necessary resources in your hands. This is Kelly signing off and hoping you'll join us next time on Phantastical Careers with Kelli Bertinelli.